joining us today, doing a little pared down episode. We got a pretty much just the two of us, P. Breezy.
What's up?
And I am Ryan B. Online. We're just going to talk about a few things today. Nothing too crazy. Very quickly go through some news. Not even that much, really. And then get into our discussion, which is about the future of the DCEU, more or less. And we'll talk about how we came upon that topic of discussion as well. But first, I think, Paul, we would like to announce with a heavy heart, yes, we're a little bit behind on this, but Alex Trebek, longtime host of Jeopardy, game show Jeopardy, has passed after a protracted battle with cancer. Pretty sad. That's a loss, I would say. Would you agree?
Yeah. I mean, any loss to cancer is not good news.
I mean, listen, man. I don't think you'd be crying your eyes out if Trump got cancer, but
I would, only because I have to hear more about him.
Fair enough. But yes, you're absolutely right. Cancer is a terrible disease. It's taking a lot of people. Obviously, that's something that we're constantly trying to get past, and we're trying to advance the study of medicine and ways to treat cancer. Because I know personally, my grandfather died of cancer. One of my uncles died of cancer. My grandmother died of cancer. It's a big disease. It's something that touches a lot of people. But I do want to talk, me personally, about. I'm very impressed with Alex Trebek because he was diagnosed several years ago now.
Yeah, he's gone through remission, I think, a couple times actually.
Yeah, and he talked several times about how he basically made peace with his impending doom, with his coming death. He said he knew that no matter what he did, no matter how many times he beat cancer, eventually it was probably going to take him. And he talked about that in several interviews. If you had bothered to look up the last days of Alex Trebek, because there's a little blurb on some news site that talked about it. Basically, he spent his last days on this earth, knowing he was going to die, just in his backyard with his wife on their swing. And that's just touching as fuck to me.
That is aggressively Canadian.
It sure is. But it's almost super sweet, as if it was covered in some kind of syrup.
Part of me wishes, as he passed, just for a moment, his mustache grew back.
I wouldn't be surprised. Anyways, I don't know. It's just it's a very inspiring thing. The guy lived a full life, and I think that most people more or less acknowledge that he was a good human being. Did a lot to help a lot of different people, and just loved learning and spreading that kind of joy and desire for learning. And it's a shame. It's a shame to lose somebody like that. But here's to you, Alex.
Yeah. And even crazier, because he came 1 week after Sean Connery. It's just crazy.
Suck it, Connery. So yes, here's to you, Alex. Moving on from such sadness. Something I just kind of browsed past and decided that I want to take a look at. And maybe we'll have a short little discussion between me and Paul here. Paul, did you know the longest serving cannabis offender is going to be released early from their prison sentence?
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned him in the pre-meeting.
They don't know that. Anyways, so care to take a guess how long this person was going to be in prison for?
Again, you told me, so it's a cheating answer.
Welcome to showbiz.
Let's not be long-winded in a very short story.
Okay, anyways, 90 years. This person was going to be sentenced to prison for 90 years for smuggling and selling 100 pounds of marijuana. 100 pounds. It's come on. As far as trafficking is concerned, that's not even that much.
Yep. He got 90 years, and Bernie got, 8?
Yeah. It's pretty crazy. Obviously, we're at a time in history when a lot of those laws are very slowly changing, but they're certainly making progress on them. Legalizing the drug itself is happening in a lot of states. It still doesn't mean you can't get 100 pounds of it from Jamaica and bring it into the States. Obviously, there's still laws on it. But the idea that this guy, already served out, what do we say, it was 1989 is when he was sentenced?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay, 30 years of his life are gone. Like, 30 fucking years are gone. And he's going to be released into a world where the thing he did isn't even necessarily all that much of a crime anymore.
Yeah.
And it, to me, certainly gives merit for looking at these laws again. Certainly validates the fact that, you know, as a society in whole, we should continually question our laws and review them and hold them to scrutiny. Because that's just insane to me. Like, and he's in the system. They were going to hold him to it. They were going to hold him to 90 years.
Yeah.
But apparently the coronavirus and various other things had affected his sentence. And it's just shocking if you think about it. Like, how in the hell can somebody go for 90 years for selling some pot, for smuggling some pot? That's ridiculous. I don't know.
It is. It is.
100 pounds. That's like, what? A few bricks?
I mean, it's still a lot.
Yeah.
But
It's like half a trailer. I don't know. I don't know the marijuana. But it's kind of crazy. Like, the whole thing. Anyways, I think that's more or less all the news that we have. But we shall move on to our next category, our next topic. Paul's doing some weird stuff, so that's why I'm talking very slowly. Just trying to figure out if he's...
well, listeners don't know because you've been doing that the entire time.
Appreciate your contribution. Anyways, moving on to our next topic. Our next topic is... Paul, did you know that HBOMax recently added Young Justice Season 3 to their streaming lineup?
Oh, so we're getting to our main topic. Okay.
All right, did you want to do something different? Yeah, what do you want to do?
I mean, it's just one main topic. It's all kind of together. That's what I thought it was.
Okay.
I misunderstood them. I'm following. Go ahead.
So anyways, they just released Young Justice Season 3 on HBO Max. Have you had a chance to watch it?
About halfway through the third season.
All right. And what do you think so far?
It's fine.
Quality?
About the same. I mean, a lot of the shows have advanced a lot since then, so it's no worse than it was. But a lot of these shows, especially like the superhero-like shows, have improved a lot since then.
I see. I thought it was pretty good. I thought the Young Justice was a quality show to begin with. The first two seasons were fantastic. It definitely went a lot farther in bringing an actual plot, an overarching plot, as well as good characters to the series, to any series really, which I think was sorely missing for a lot of things. And they've definitely continued it on season 3. They've brought in, their focus this season seems to be on Apocalypse and, just that kind of greater New Gods, all this other stuff. There's a lot of political things going on too, as far as like the Earthbound sort of things. Very interesting, very good. They have also released Titans, the live action series.
Cool.
Yeah. Now, you haven't had a chance to watch this, I believe.
By choice.
By choice. I have had a chance to watch this, and I will say for sure, there is a massive disparity in quality. Titans is just quite honestly trash. And it brought a question to me, in my mind. How the hell can a company like that, with basically the same resource for, animated versus, live action, at least for story writing, things like that, how the hell can you do one thing so good and another thing so bad?
Well, I think inherently doing superheroes in an animated format is 9 times out of 10 going to be better than a live action.
I suppose.
Just because, again, like you can do everything that the comics can do, and you're not limited by
budget.
Well, I mean, regardless, I mean, just the quality of CGI, the time involved, like you're not having to hit the same like hard deadlines as like a movie or even a live action show. You're not having to worry about if an actor has a bad day or just a bad casting, it's a lot easier to switch over a voice actor
You
than
walked
a live
into my
action.
shop. Sorry.
Which
good for you.
Which I guess on that note, R.I.P. to the original English voice actor for Goku. He passed away at the age of 47 recently.
Not Sean Schimmel.
No, the guy before him. I forget his name, but he was not good as Goku.
Krillin.
He did a bunch of other voices that were actually pretty decent, but I can't remember them offhand. But he passed away at 47.
That sucks.
He was the Goku voice actor when Ocean had control of it. But I think. Yeah, I mean, Young Justice, I think, has more leeway because it is, at that point, it's Justice League Light.
Yeah.
Especially in Season 3.
Oh, yeah.
They're they're literally just an offshoot of Justice League.
Well, yeah. Even, Calder, Aqualad, this version of Aqualad, who was, like, one of, if not the main focus in the first 2 seasons, is now, takes a majorly backseat in the story, and B, is more involved with the Justice League. Hell, he is like basically the leader at the beginning of the season.
Well, he's still he's leader because because the big ones either went off world for humanitarian efforts or spoilers, like first episode, like Batman, Green Arrow, they all quit.
Yep.
Because of all the politics and bullshit.
Black Lightning.
He quit for personal reasons, but so
yeah.
Good way to start a season.
Yes. hell of an intro. Start out with a bang for sure. And it remains quality throughout the entire season, I would say. But like, it's just, how do you do that? How do you like just fire on all cylinders? Story writing, voice acting. Like I get the voice acting, okay, that I guess that's chance, That being said, I think they chose some quality voice actors.
Well, I mean, again, it's the people behind it.
Yeah.
I mean, the people behind Young Justice have a strong attachment, a strong desire to make it successful. Mm-hmm. Whereas people behind Titans are the same people that are the problems behind the other DC live action stuff.
Yeah.
The Greg Berlantis of the world.
The Berlanti-verse. But even that, he did good with Green Arrow or with Arrow and Flash at first.
Yes, at first, because he has good ideas. He doesn't have good series.
Yeah.
And again, he also, despite this not being on CW, is still working with those parameters. He's still like forcing love stories that shouldn't be there. He's still forcing, relationship issues between, and again, like everybody is angsty from what I heard, from what you're telling me.
Pretty much.
Like
that's pretty much right on the money. Is that they're just all so teenage and dark and everything that Teen Titans was not. Basically, like they had some edge to them.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like, okay, it was still like a superhero show / comic /
and I mean, and again, like Titans at worst it's meant to be a bunch of teenagers and young adults who are, frustrated because they're held in the sidekick role, which again was like the first season of Young Justice.
Yep.
Like that is exactly what Titans is supposed to be. That's exactly what it's supposed to be.
Yep.
They're heroes who want to be acknowledged as heroes, not sidekicks.
I gotta say, they do a great job of carrying over gags too. In Young Justice, they're still saying "today's the day" in the 3rd season. They still reference "whelmed." They still, which is great because it's just like a throwaway bit from like one of the first episodes where Robin's like, "Is anybody ever whelmed? Like, how can we underwhelmed and overwhelmed, but never just whelmed?"
What is the deal with being whelmed?
Yes. It's kind of crazy, just how good it is. And Titans itself is just awful. It is just so wannabe edgy and like, I mean, I'm sure many of you have seen the bit "Fuck Batman." And due to things online, I was kind of led to believe that the "Fuck Batman" bit was like not a real thing. Like it was supposed to be like a fantasy, like mind trip, like like Robin daydreaming or something like that. But no, it's a thing. It happens in universe.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I think they came out. The first episode came out, or that happened in the same year as Bat Penis. So they've been lost for a minute. And again, too, I mean, like the 2 biggest names attached to Titans is Greg Berlanti and Jeff Johns.
Yeah.
Like and again, it's been for a long time. Even with the hiccups they've had in some of the more recent movies, DC animated has always been better than DC live action.
I agree.
And again, like we're like the four big shows from the DC Universe app, like their movies and shows. The four biggest things, the two, well, I mean, I guess the three best ones, but like both animated ones are phenomenal, and only 1 out of 2 of the live action ones are worth watching.
Well, here's what I'll say: Doom Patrol is fantastic. Love Doom Patrol. Swamp Thing is pretty good.
I wasn't even counting that because it didn't get finished.
Yeah.
So the reason why I didn't count it because they just gave up on it.
Yeah. Which is unfortunate, but I started watching that one too because it came to the CW and now is available streaming on Xfinity on demand and things like that. And that one's pretty damn good. Like, and I think to be fair, with something like that, you don't have an awful lot of expectation. Like, you can tell your own story and it could still be good. I will say, though, that it's very weird to see a CW show with bleeps. It's not bleep, it's audio out, audio cut. Yeah. But, I mean, because it started out on the DC app, and then they brought it to CW. So when they brought it to CW, they did not have, the lack of censorship.
That's a weird move. I don't know why they would do that.
Yeah.
I mean, HBO even has a history with Swamp Thing. Mm-hmm. So I don't know why they would bother putting it on CW.
I think, I don't know, maybe because they felt that they could get it out more frequently, quicker, better. Maybe not better, but more frequently. If they
out more frequently.
Like maybe they figured that if they had the money from CW behind it and CW pushing to get the show made every week, that they could do it. Like they could get it made every week. Whereas you look at season 3 of Doom Patrol now, I think has been postponed for quite a while, and part of that is because of the pandemic, obviously. But I think part of it is also because HBO doesn't have as much desire to get these things done.
Maybe it would mean to the same point, CW's also dumping DC shows.
Well, yeah, but like, what are they dumping now? They dumped Arrow, but they didn't even dump Arrow. Like, Arrow was done.
Arrow, I mean, let's be honest, Batwoman is going to have one more season. They're going to be done.
There's a lot of reasons.
Supergirl's done.
Yeah.
Flash might get this last season.
Mm-hmm.
And even like, I mean, I don't have very high hopes of them keeping Stargirl on very long.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the first couple episodes, but I mean, I never went back to it, so that's a sign right there.
You're going on almost a decade now with these shows.
Yeah.
Like, I could see them kind of looking at it and being like, we had a good run with it, business-wise, maybe it is a good time to dump these shows, and maybe something like Swamp Thing is a big enough departure. Plus, I think Swamp Thing is close enough to one of their most successful franchises, Supernatural, at least in terms of feel. I
guess a little bit. But again, that show is also a lot cheaper to do.
Sure change.
It's just two pretty boys running around with an old car. Like, that's what most of the show is.
I feel like that's what most of the CW shows are, period.
No, they changed the gender qualifications for different shows, but no, I mean, Swamp Thing is a fairly expensive show. And to have the same, like, I don't want a CW Swamp Thing.
I agree. Especially with, like, if you watch the first episode of it, which is the one where I think hooked a lot of people, there's a lot of cool practical effects that they did. And Swamp Thing is more or less presented as, like, a thriller or a horror rather than just, like, a traditional superhero show.
Yeah, and that's fine. Like, he's not a superhero, so
he's not, no. Even going beyond, like, his role, whether he is a superhero or not, eventually they expand him out to be an almost, I hate to say cosmic because he's not really cosmic, but he's like almost a godlike being. Like, maybe not the guy himself, but Swamp Thing is, a man who has been basically attached to DC's version of the spirit of the earth, like, and nature, Mother Nature, the green.
Yeah, but I mean, that's classic DC, where they have a character for so long they don't know what to do with them, so they just give him too many powers.
Continue elevating him to godhood.
Again, I mean, recently,
Batman.
They literally like started categorizing Batman as a metahuman.
Yep.
Like, I mean, I don't know if it's carried over to their most recent reboot. I mean, I can't keep up with the reboots anymore, but or retcons, whatever they want to use, whatever term they want to use nowadays.
I mean, once they gave him Mentor's chair, was it called the Infinity or
the Infinity chair or something like that? But yeah, I mean, yeah, he got to use it. I think he got to ask like one question. Yep. But yeah, I mean, and again, like there wasn't a lot of original content, but I mean, like there were 5 shows or 4 shows, 3 shows.
It was Harley Quinn animated.
I think that was HBO straight.
Really? Okay.
I think they went to HBO straight.
There was Doom Patrol, there was Titans, there was Swamp Thing. That might have been it.
No, you know what? I think Harley Quinn was. It came over so early that I thought, yeah. So it was Titans and Titans, Young Justice, Swamp Thing, Doom Patrol, and Harley Quinn.
Yeah.
If there were other ones, they didn't really matter, even less so than the ones we just mentioned.
And not to obviously it did ultimately quote unquote fail, but bold move. Launching a streaming service with 5 shows, with 5 original content shows.
Well, I'll say this: considering at the time they were going to include those 5 original shows, I think you had access to nearly most, if not all, of their animated movies and other shows, as well as the promise they were going to include their entire back catalog of comics.
Yeah,
slowly over time. I mean, I think they already have like a few thousand on there, but. That was, and again, like if you're a DC stan, like that's amazing. Like to have all the movies, all the shows, the new shows, all the comics, pay their whatever $10, $20 a month, whatever it was, and boom, you have access to all that. It sounds really good, but we're in a place now where when every friggin' channel or company has their own streaming service, like they have more to stand on than like a CBS. I feel
potentially. You know what I was watching the other day? Well, when we were watching, I was talking to my dad, and he happened to have CBS on because he's old and Republican. But there was some some reality TV show, dating reality TV show or whatever, where it was all pretty young people, and it was like very overtly sexual. And I was like, "This is CBS? That's kind of crazy." Like. I get that this is what, broadcast television has become, but CBS?
I have not watched CBS. I think the last thing I watched on CBS was The Late Show, or whatever they call it with Stephen Colbert. Late Night?
The Rapport? Oh, no.
Anyway, the former David Letterman show. But that's probably the last thing I watched like live on CBS. Otherwise, I catch clips on YouTube.
Yeah.
Like most people my age. I think they're going through a bit of a culture shock because they just need to catch up. Because again, like all the things they've been doing, Netflix is doing better. NBC, Fox, like they're all doing their things.
Yep.
And now Fox has the backing of Disney with them also. So who knows what's going to be coming in the future. Now, I forget what... No, this is off topic. That doesn't matter. It's off topic. Let's get back on topic. So, so the DC app, I think, was a good idea initially. But, it wasn't enough to sustain it. And it went on too slow. I mean, I never saw a number, but it's been around for 2 years. And honestly, people weren't talking about it.
No.
Even before all this stuff came over. It just... I mean, believe me, it wasn't to the level of failure that Quibi was, but I mean, it was a good idea that I think just didn't have the execution behind it, and it probably honestly was too much. It probably was like $10 a month. I think it was like $9. I think it was like $9 or $10 a month.
Sidebar: did you see the Mr. Sunday Movies bit on Quibi?
Which one? They've done a few.
Well, I suppose the only one that I see was the one we talked about, the 50 states or 52 states. Yeah. And they were like explaining the concept of Quibi. And no.
I mean, when we talked about it, like it's very clear that the person who, the main person behind this is an executive with way too many years of experience who doesn't understand like what's going on. So like his gimmick is like, oh, the phone is in portrait mode. Okay, can we turn it? Nope. Can we screenshot it to put things online? Nope. Can we share it? Nope. All right, well, this should go viral pretty quickly. For the wrong reasons. So, yeah, so, like, and again, like, that's...
Like a lead balloon.
But again, like, think about it, like, all the shows that have gotten huge over the last, just this year, especially during quarantine. I mean, Tiger King, because of the memes. I mean, granted, the show is hilarious, but the memes fucking got it up there. Baby Yoda is the main reason why The Mandalorian is as huge as it. It's a good show. Don't get me wrong, but it doesn't on its surface value have the surface
You have an immediate and recognizable character, who also, is cute.
It's fucking adorable.
Yep. This last episode that just aired, which I know we're probably not going to talk about today, but the last episode that's aired with fucking Baby Yoda eating the blue macaroons and using the Force to steal them, and then fucking going woohoo in the middle of this big fight, this dog fight in the air, and then at the final end of after the dog fight, throws up a little bit of these blue macaroons onto his onto his clothes, and fucking Mando's. Oh no! Yeah,
full baby Groot, man.
Yeah,
great. It was great.
See the red wire.
Well, it's worth a shot.
Yeah.
But again, that's off topic. So I mean, like, there definitely was a few, a few positives on there. Again, Harley Quinn, Young Justice, and Doom Patrol. Sorry, I'm just hard to think over all the rolling.
They can't hear the rolling.
Yeah, they can. It's a solid bar across the board.
They don't know what it is.
It's pretty easy to tell what it is.
Anyways.
So I'm just going to delete all this out. Or you're going to.
It's my month. Still, I guess. I don't know. Like, I feel like I had a long month, but at the same time, we also didn't record twice. So, I forgot to start off by saying, sorry that we didn't post any episode for the last 2 weeks. But
I know you're all saddened by that.
We would say that we were busy, but we just couldn't coincide our schedules, pretty much all it was. So me and Paul finally decided we're just going to record an episode ourselves without D. But
miss you. So there were some good things about the DC app, but it just wasn't long for this world.
Agree.
Oh my god, dude, come on.
Yeah, edit it. Why do you care?
It's just bad audio. Because I'm talking while you're doing it. That's the problem. And I can't separate the lines. So, however, the failure of DC has been a boondoggle. No, has been what's the opposite of boondoggle?
Doonboggle?
Sort of fucking. It's been
Bee's
great.
trigger.
It's been great for HBOMax. I know we talked about HBOMax last year about the streaming wars and about how I wasn't confident. Again, based on the early news, I was not confident about them taking control and doing big things from Netflix, and because I thought it was going to come down to HBO to Disney Plus and Netflix.
Yeah.
I'm like $15 a month. Like, it's a lot for like just HBO stuff. And then fuck.
Yeah. Well, especially at the beginning of this, when we're talking about like, one of the subscription plans for Disney Plus includes Hulu and ESPN.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay.
Still cheaper.
Yeah. And then now, here's the thing. I think the HBO basically just did what they did normally, but for streaming. Like, because HBO's draw for the longest time has been their original content.
Yeah.
Has been their prestige shows. Has been their Sopranos. Has been their Game of Thrones. Has been their, what's the recent ones? Is there a new one?
Westworld.
Has been their Westworld. Has been their, even I enjoy Lovecraft Country. But I mean, like, that concept of just, like, make these super high quality shows that are an hour apiece and that, is just high concept drama and just charge a premium for it. Like, and that's pretty much exactly what they're doing. and it's working out for him. It's the way Dad did it. It's the way America does it. It's worked out pretty well so far.
Well, and more so because, again, like, in the early stages, like, they were talking about, all these different movies and things becoming available and being on the thing. And it's okay, that's sounds cool, Studio Ghibli and, a bunch of South Park and other stuff. What I don't think was very clear was the extent of their partnerships. That, like, I wasn't expecting them to have... Like, okay, so I think there's enough on there for everybody. Like, obviously, their original content, the HBO content, new movies coming up, or, movies, more recent movies, just like they have on the series. But for me personally, I think the two biggest things that got me on there more than I expected to be on there is their partnerships with Crunchyroll, because I had no idea about that.
Yeah.
And granted, it doesn't have everything, because that would be crippling to Crunchyroll.
Oh, yeah.
But there's enough of sub and dub on there, and especially of newer shows. Like, again, like, it's been a slow year for anime, but a huge, two big series for this year have been God of High School and Tower of God, and they're both on there, dub and sub. I've been watching it weekly when it comes out on HBOMax. It's been great. The final episode just came out. I think yesterday. And like I say, Crunchyroll has been great for me. And again, all the DC stuff too, because it's cool to have, obviously, I'm actually able to now watch Young Justice Season 3. I'm able to watch Harley Quinn, able to watch Doom Patrol, and Doom Patrol has been phenomenal.
Absolutely. You love to see it.
You love to see it. GG. And on top of that, I'm confident they never announced that. If you already have HBO, it was included with it. So I'm paying the same amount for the thing I didn't realize I was getting also.
Yep.
It's incredible.
And it's even better because there's so many packages now with Comcast.
Yeah.
That include HBO. And it's like, okay, it includes HBO and it includes HBOMax.
Yeah. And I still have an old deal where it's like a couple different premium channels together for $10 a month.
Yeah.
So I'm getting it for $5 cheaper than it actually is. Yeah. And I'm getting all the new updates, getting all the new series. That's been the biggest thing. So I'm able to enjoy HBO Max for less than, and again, Netflix is again raising their prices, and I get it. They're still $7 billion in debt, or what the hell they are.
Got to have a lot of lawsuits with with cuties and all that.
God, but I mean, look, I still love Netflix. I still watch Netflix on a regular basis. Schitt's Creek has been great. They've added a bunch of new shows, but I'm impressed, surprised, and impressed by how well HBO Max has done.
Absolutely. It's certainly been a come from behind, or not even come from behind, come out of nowhere.
come from the front.
Yes, pretty much.
Well, because then too, because they were the innovators when it came to cable 69. TV. They were the innovators when it came to cable.
Yep.
And they're not innovating on streaming, but they're making
HBO has always been known as being totally comfortable with full frontal.
Well, but again, I remember when we were talking about the streaming war, that's one thing that it's it would be dangerous if something were if say the basic cable places got together and all of a sudden NBC, CBS, Fox, whomever else, they all got together and made one service for themselves. So if you could have one service with Friends, The Office, Big Bang Theory, all the different mega shows and sitcoms from the last 30 years on basic TV, and put them together, that would be a powerhouse for a certain generation.
That would be a Doonboggle.
Son of a bitch.
You said we need more things, okay? Yeah. I'm making more things.
But HBO Max is doing that. HBO Max is because again, they're bringing over again Studio Ghibli, DC, Crunchyroll, Sesame Street. They're bringing in Adult Swim, and something else. Not National Geographic, but something like that, maybe that I don't remember. There's eight things on there besides their original content. There's 8 different sub companies underneath them. Yeah. And again, while I don't have all the stuff from Crunchyroll or all the stuff from DC, it's an impressive amount. It's enough where I'm watching shows that I normally wouldn't even thought of. It's fucking impressive. So the death of DC, while you hate to see it was a pretty good idea. Again, bringing in movies bringing together the movies, shows, cartoons, and comics.
And if you think about it, it's not like yes, it's DC, but if you think about it more as Warner Brothers, like, well, there's a lot to be seen there. Like, pretty much Warner Brothers has been the exclusive producer of DC Comics, live action, animated, all that shit, television, movie content for years now.
Yeah, ever since they bought them.
Yeah. So, like, yes, it doesn't have everything from Warner Brothers, but more or less, if you think about it as, like, maybe Warner Brothers superhero, it made sense, kind of, from that aspect. But you need more, for sure.
Yeah, because, I mean, you can only watch, like, like the series, like, I could definitely rewatch Young Justice or, like, the Justice League or Batman or the animated series. Like, I can watch those things a few times through. But that's not going to keep me in there every single day.
Yeah.
Like, I'll pop on Netflix every day for something. Whether it's a stand-up or something else. Now, but yeah, what I loved about the idea was that it was bringing together new and old movies, new and old shows, and introducing generations to the comics. Both the old generation to new comics and the new generation to the old comics. So you can go on and see, and again, while, there's definitely a huge disparity on the quality of the comic stories.
Yeah.
Like, as much as I have an affinity for, like, Kingdom Come.
Yeah.
Infinity Crisis is a bit of a mess.
Yeah.
There's a couple different identity things that were fun.
There's a lot of crises.
The crises are plenty and varied.
Yes.
Both in quality and scale. And again, if you really want to see Dr. Manhattan's dong or you want to see Batman's dong, it's available for you.
Why not both? Not at the same time.
Oh yeah, I never pegged Dr. Manhattan. There's still time.
Dr. Manhattan doesn't look like he'd be into pegging.
He doesn't seem like he wouldn't be interested in it. I mean, given the infinite time he's probably has at some point,
he's pegged himself.
Yeah. For sure.
Wouldn't you?
Gave himself a version without male genitalia. Just put on a strap on.
Wait, what? If
it was him, it'd be gay.
Yeah. I guess if you are a nigh omnipotent god who can do whatever you want, like, I guess, I don't know. Would it matter? Like,
don't shame him.
Yeah. We're not kink shaming here. We don't do that.
Psych. But yeah, I'm immensely impressed by how well HBOMax. I shouldn't be, but I'm immensely impressed by how well HBOMax has taken a giant leap forward during the pandemic. Mm-hmm. They've taken advantage of their sister companies and the sister apps having some weak spots. And I'm fairly excited to see what they do moving forward. And I think, again, like something recent they announced, if you want to go into it, I mean, they're dabbling in new movies.
Yep. So December 25th.
Yep.
Day after Christmas. Day of Christmas. They're going to release Wonder Woman on their streaming service. Now, is that going to be like with the additional charge, or is it just straight up?
I'm gonna assume so.
I would think so.
Because I mean, unless they played a bunch of ads beforehand, and like don't let you skip it. But I imagine that'd be some kind of fee, even if it's like a $10 fee. Then like,
how else could they make money on it?
Yeah, I mean, because I mean, at this point, it's probably a sizable amount of people that have the app. Mm-hmm. And on top of that, yeah, like unless they just bog it down with a bunch of ads, and I mean they can still make ad revenue from that. Would be easy as hell.
Oh yeah.
I mean I know HBO doesn't like doing that, but we're also in different. This is a different situation.
Yeah.
It's a very unique situation we're in. So I mean, what do you do? Because I mean, right now the highest grossing movie of the year is a Chinese film.
Yeah. Is that
I forget what it's called.
Okay.
But yeah, it's a Chinese film. and it made like $500 million or $400 million.
Highest grossing American film is Bad Boys, isn't it?
I think it's still Bad Boys.
Yeah, that's crazy. Like,
yeah, it was the only movie to have a good full release schedule this year. Yeah, it made like $400 million.
it's a good amount.
Oh no, solid amount. But I mean, considering like we came off last year, the number one movie making $3 billion.
Yeah,
It's a bit of a downgrade in a year where the very mediocre to very bad Captain Marvel made over $1 billion.
Yep.
To the highest grossing, and again, like we've already and within this year, a year that was supposed to see 2 Pixar movies.
Yep.
One had to be released on streaming and only got like a week in cinemas. And Soul, I think, is going to be just put directly on Disney Plus.
Yep.
I know they're retooling how they're going to do that because the Mulan thing did not go over well.
Did not.
Besides the movie itself, just the fees
Yeah.
people didn't like.
Well, yeah, all that. I think, to be honest with you, the reason the Mulan movie didn't do well is because nobody was really clamoring for a remake of that movie to begin with. And even them trying to kind of correct a lot of their cultural errors from that movie didn't go over well.
Well, it was still wrong because I mean, like a bunch of people in China were boycotting it.
Yeah.
Like they were still like weren't doing.
There
it
were
right.
various reasons for that. One of them was because they did shooting in an area where there's a lot of like, I don't know if it's genocidal, but basically like they shot a lot of the movie in an area of China where they basically like took these people from this area and they basically disregard their human rights. And that's why a lot of people were boycotting it. Guess what? Racism isn't fucking, only in America. And I don't even know if you can call that racism, because it is literally people from the same area, just like, a slightly different geographic location, which I guess is what racism is. But
I mean, I don't want to get into the differences between ethnic prejudice and racial prejudice.
killing people whom you haven't met for no reason other than the fact that they are from over there is bad. Mm-hmm. Hating people for that reason is bad. Denying them their human rights for that reason is bad.
Yeah.
It really shouldn't be a discussion.
So you can hate whoever you want, but yeah, I mean, basic human rights.
Yep. Again, and it's only because basically, like, maybe there was something, years away that, these people, your dad fucking beat up my dad, sort of thing. But, bro, move forward. So, all in all, good move, I think, for DC this has resulted in them. I don't know if this has resulted in it, but it coincides with them shutting down the DC streaming service.
Well, it is shifting.
Yeah.
1/21/21, they'll be changing from, like, right now it's like it still has some movies and TV shows on there. As of the 21st or 22nd, it'll be strictly comics. So it'll still be an app, but it'll be just for comics. So I mean, I'm sure they're going to change the pricing structure, but
hope so.
well, it's DC, you never know. They love the idea of prestige format. And again, that's kind of cool too. But I mean, I don't know.
They'd love to see it.
But I mean, outside of Disney stands, I mean, paying a subscription fee just for DC Comics. Again, there are a lot of people who just love DC Comics. Yeah. I mean, I've always liked comics from across the ways.
Yeah.
Whether it's Marvel, DC, Image, Dark Horse, not so much Valiant. I never really got into them, but I mean, a lot of just random comics. Like, again, like right now, I'm still waiting for issue 2 of the Last Ronin.
Yeah. So how is issue 1? How was issue 1?
Pretty dope. Not gonna go into spoilers here. We'll wait till DeLacy's here.
I will ask a question. You don't have to answer like the actual answer, but like, do they reveal who it is
on the last panel?
Very nice. Okay.
Oh, it's beautiful how they do it.
Yeah, I see it over there on your shelf, and may snatch that up.
Yeah, it's the last panel starts off with him. He wakes up like in a bed. He's like after this, he almost dies. Mm-hmm. He's in a bed. He's like talking to he thinks he.
So it's a he.
he thinks he's like dead.
So it's not Venus.
So it's like he sees a younger version of himself talking to the younger versions of the other turtles, and then he kind of like wakes up. He's old, the old run again. This is like this is I forget what years this take place in, but it's basically like 30 years in the future.
Yeah.
And he wakes up to somebody greeting him, and they know who he is.
Yeah.
And that the last word said is the turtle's name.
Yeah.
It's done very well. It's one of those where it's like the episode of South Park where they play the Terrence Phillip commercial at the very end of the episode of Fighting Around the World.
Yeah.
It's done that well. Yeah, because I was expecting them to kind of tease us like into the next issue, and yeah, they just drop it right at your feet right at the end of the issue.
Mic drop.
Really good.
Good.
Yeah, HBOMax is killing it. DC stuff is a great add-on. Again, they don't have all the stuff because I think there's still a lot of stuff that's spread out on different platforms, and I'm sure Warner Brothers is trying to make some money up, so they're probably putting it out on different platforms.
And they should, yeah. Get it out there.
Yeah, man. Make that. I mean, again, like syndication is where all the money is.
Yeah.
So I mean, if you can get the money from Xfinity or Netflix or whomever else, like Netflix, despite just bleeding money, is willing to pay for that stuff. Like,
I still I get that they're bleeding money. They got a lot of debts to pay, but at the same time, I think they're just churning out so much. Like, they're getting so many subscribers. They're getting in so much money that it just doesn't matter. Like, they're just constantly bringing more and more in. It's just that they're giving it away as fast as they can.
I mean, again, they're $7 billion in debt. Mm-hmm. 5 or 7. I forget the actual number because I know it's way more than it was when we talked about it last year.
Yeah.
I think last year was 4 or 5, and it's more than that. I thought 7 was the number I heard last. And again, kudos to them at this point. They're doing this and still not having ads, still not doing the things that YouTube does,
and creating more and more original content.
Yeah.
As time goes on. It's almost to the point where, I mean, I don't think they're there yet, but they could potentially become a strictly original content. Like, at least what they consider original content, because there's still a lot of anime and even a lot of other shows, like live action shows, where it's like, it's branded Netflix original content, but it's not made by Netflix.
Yeah, the anime specifically, they just, because they're the exclusive ones here, so they say it's theirs.
Yep.
Like with 7 Deadly Sins and shit like that.
Yeah.
And then with the shows, I mean, I'll give them a little bit on that because they'll reboot a show or they'll resurrect a show like Arrested Development.
Yeah.
Like, clearly it's not them. Like, it was on Fox for years, but they brought it back, so now it's an original. Quote unquote.
Financed it.
Yeah,
but
that's fine.
And that's the other thing is like, okay, like that's not even original content at that point. That is literally just them giving an existing group of people the money to finish their idea. So there was this thing, I don't know if you happened to watch it, where Nux did a thing where he talked about Project Melody, the person who created her VTuber avatar, basically like threatened to sue her because he said that like due to the fact that he made her VTuber avatar, he had rights to the money she made and the content that she made using the avatar. Like, that is vaguely kind of, it's tangentially related to what we're talking about here. Is like, where do the rights actually go at that point? Who actually has the right to say, this is my product, I'm making it? Like, do the makers of a car have the right to say, we won a race?
I mean, they can advertise that a Ford won this race or a Chevy won this race, yeah.
Yeah.
They do
But they can't be like, you need to give us the prize money from that. You know what I'm saying? Like, They made the car, but the fucking driver won the race. The team who maintained the car won the race. You know, all of that. Where does it stop with this kind of, with streaming content, with not just streaming, but just intellectual properties?
In the contracts?
I guess so. It's whatever they agree upon.
Yeah, I mean, again, it starts in the beginning with, the creators of the series, whatever contract they make with the original production company and the original distribution company. Mm-hmm. So whatever deal, Michael Schur, originally had with The Good Place in NBC.
Yeah.
Okay, well, in that, does he have say over where it goes in syndication, where it goes in streaming? Then does he have a cut of that from whatever money they're making off it, or whatever thing they could be making off of that?
Yeah.
And even there, like, how do you really gauge that? Because the whole point of, I mean, Netflix's business model is pay for clickbaits.
I suppose.
Like, because again, like every other production company, every other studio is making money off of ad revenue.
Yeah.
Their only ad revenue is if they have product placement in the series.
Sure. Which
plenty of series don't have it. Some do, don't get me wrong, but more do than they should.
I just watched what's that, Evil with Mike Coulter.
Okay.
And like they have a lot of stuff in there where it's just like, fictitious products and things like that.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah.
So like, they very easily could have used Coke, Shell gas or whoever else, and get that like product placement.
They could have used delicious Mountain Dew, favorite fuel of gamers, with extra caffeine. Oh, sorry.
I prefer Mountain Dew Zero.
Oh, nice. I agree with you, Paul. Mountain Dew Zero is wonderful when you don't want the calories that come with normal Mountain Dew, which is still very refreshing.
Still extreme.
We're relevant. Hashtag not sponsored. Unless you want to.
Hashtag please.
I'm just kidding, like Jason. Unless you're going to do it.
Nice. Netflix is giving. Honestly, that's going to be I feel like that's going to be a fucking case study. Like there's going to be fucking like university courses about Netflix in the future. Like I just don't understand how Netflix.
How Netflix? How does Netflix?
I it's one of those things where it's almost like it almost feels like a scheme. Where it's like everybody involved is making money, but the company's still losing money.
Why use big word when small word do trick? Yeah, no, I like capitalism.
I mean, it's I'm not. Listen, I ain't mad about it.
Yeah.
There's still a lot of great shows coming out. A lot of things I'm still able to enjoy.
We're $7 billion in debt, but our subscriber number base is increasing. I see this as an absolute win.
Yeah, it's they're making it work. However, that's happening.
Yeah.
I mean, most of the streaming services seem to be doing fairly well. I mean, even CBS seems to be as fledgling as it is. Like some people like Lower Decks and Discovery, but I mean, they are Star Trek heavy.
Yeah.
They are surprisingly Star Trek heavy in their online content. NBC, I haven't heard anything about Peacock since it came out, and even still, like The Office is still on Netflix, so I'm not sure when that contract's over with.
Soon.
And then again, Friends is one of their biggest shows. That's still fucking on. That's they just a brand new deal with HBOMax.
I from what I understand about Discovery, now you talk about it, apparently it's very psychological, which is interesting to actually like go back to that version of Star Trek. But I don't know. That's just I haven't seen any of it.
I have not. The only thing I know about it is from what's said by the Critical Drinker. And I'm going to be honest, as much as I enjoy him, he slants heavily towards being against female-centric ideas.
I suppose so.
Aggressively so.
He is a difficult pill to swallow.
He is.
I saw his review on what's the Rainbow Dimension movie with Natalie Portman.
Yeah. Yep.
Annihilation. Yeah. That was an interesting take. That being said, I highly recommend seeing that movie just because how weird and head trippy it is, but also because the absolutely fucking terrifying scene with the bear thing, like legitimately had me frozen in my fucking seat when I was watching that. And I think I was watching it like I normally watch other movies where I kind of do other things, but when that shit came on, I was like, the fuck? What the fuck?
You hate to see it.
You hate to see it. So sad.
But CBS.
Yes.
What are they called? Is it just CBS Online or CBS?
CBS Go? I don't know.
Probably CBS Go. They're probably pretty original like that.
Yep.
I mean, I think there's still an issue of too many streaming services. But
all access.
All Access, yes, that's
Yeah.
right. But I mean, they're. I mean, Quibi's gone, so one down.
Steve walks rapidly down the street with his rimple way down low.
But I mean, I think still. I mean, I think even where we were last year, it still comes down to the new big three of Netflix, Disney Plus, and HBO Max. But HBO Max is positioned a lot different than I thought they were going to be.
Oh yeah.
They're fucking neck and neck with Netflix right now.
Yep.
Despite Netflix having a lot more content, I'm really loving the content on HBO Max.
Yeah. The Haunting of Bly Manor was okay. Lovecraft Country was great, despite having some glaring issues. But like, if you just comparing those two things, I know they're not really the same thing. Lovecraft Country was more like horror,
Yeah.
and Haunting of Bly Manor was more like scary movie. Like it wasn't, yeah, it wasn't actually like terrifying in the way that a lot of fucking Lovecraft Country was. It was a very different mood in general.
Yeah.
But you're still comparing like two flagship series for both of these services that kind of touch, in the same vein. Because I can't really think of anything that has like a direct overlap for these two. But if I were to compare these two, certainly preferred Lovecraft Country to Haunting of Bly Manor. And I can't even think of anything in Netflix, despite them having a lot more, that I enjoyed as much as I enjoyed that. Like, especially not recently. Like, admittedly, I'm not a Tiger King guy, but apparently that one's just the bee's knees.
It's a guilty pleasure. That's as close as I'll get to enjoying reality TV. Because I feel like it's one of those things that, like, it seems like it started off as a normal documentary. It just spiraled into this fucking shit show.
Yeah.
Of just a crazy individual that, like, while I'm watching it, like, I finally get to like episode 5 or whatever. I finally remember, like, oh yeah, I remember seeing this guy
Yeah.
when he's fucking running for president. Like, I remember him being mentioned on like Last Week Tonight. Like, oh fuck, that's right.
Joe Exotic.
Yeah, it's bananas.
Those tigers.
Nice.
Yeah. I kind of have an aversion to shows like that, especially like those kind of Netflix, like, they're kind of murder podcasts, but with, actual like video and stuff, where it's like they kind of almost try to assert their own assumptions about a case or whatever, kind of like Making a Murderer, kind of like.
Didn't watch that. I'll be honest. While a murder plot is a big part of the story later on,
Yeah.
they're very clear. These are all terrible people.
Yeah.
Nobody in that series is a good person. In fact, they're pretty well say that the potential victim is probably the only murderer on the show.
Oh yeah.
That bitch Carol Baskins.
Yeah.
One's a cult sex offender. The other one's just a gay dude who loves blowing shit up.
Yeah.
And blown up asses. It's he blows up his own shit.
You ain't exactly straight, are you?
And then Carol Baskin. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely like, it's meant to be like, again, like a guilty pleasure. Like, it's not like, it does have a slant in a way, but again, the slant more is that these are all terrible people doing terrible things. It doesn't approach it the same way of like a murder, of like the murder porn, like a lot of stuff is like, it's definitely like there, but like the only person that dies, well, only 2 people die, I think, during the whole thing. One person commits suicide, and another one is Carol Baskin's first husband, who like dies years before any of this stuff takes place. And then it just, there's a murder plot,
Present.
later on.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's such a, honestly, I view it as such a small part of the series. It was more like that's just the reason why he's in jail as opposed to like the main point of the series.
Yeah.
Main point of the series is like, these are all terrible people doing terrible things to wild animals.
Yeah.
Like, even the person who's like doing it for the right things is still fucking doing bad stuff.
Yeah.
And all 3 of them are basically cult leaders at a certain point. It's pretty fucking weird.
This is America. You better put somebody in jail for 90 years for selling some pot.
Yeah. But not one person on Wall Street went to jail.
Yep. You're technically legal, which is the best kind of legal.
Red line.
Yep. Yeah, so, as a long story short here, DC seems to be making a good move with this. HBOMax slowly turning out to be 100% worth the price of admission. I think the solution to DC needing to find a way to make better content, the other thing we didn't touch upon is that the Snyder Cut is ever impending on being released on this platform, which, as you told me, I guess has started to turn the wheels in motion to get him back in control at DC.
Yes, because of the hullabaloo over the Snyder Cut.
Mm-hmm.
There's... I don't know if it's confirmed, but there's definitely talks about him taking a creative control again over more stuff, which...
That's awful.
They just don't learn. They just don't learn. I mean, we talked at length the other day, like, Jeff Johns is a puppet.
Yeah.
Like, the executives at Warner Brothers put him in charge because they can control him, not because they thought he would do a good job.
He's no Feige. He's no Feige.
No, I don't know anybody else who is a Feige. I mean, the closest thing to a Feige, not really. I mean, I would say it would be Christopher Nolan, but Christopher Nolan is too strict on what he wants to do. And
Christopher Nolan wants to do what Christopher Nolan wants to do. He doesn't really care about, bringing in, adhering to the spirit of these characters. He has a vision. He had a vision for Batman, and he stuck to it all the way through. And even now, you look at Tenet. He insisted that movie be released in theaters because it had to be experienced. And that did not work out well for them.
I mean, my biggest issue is that the movie doesn't make sense.
Yep.
I haven't talked to anybody that thought it was good.
Does anyone think it was good?
I don't. If anybody's listening to this, can you let us know if you thought it was good, or if you know somebody who thought it was good, and have them reach out to us, because we would love that. Because, I mean, listen, visually it looks beautiful.
It's nice.
If I was drunk, I would enjoy the fuck out of it. And I love David Washington's beard. He has a top 3 beard.
Luxurious.
I love Robert Pattinson. He's great.
He was acceptable.
I liked him.
Yeah, I'm not super keen on just like pretty white boys as my main leads, but he was fine. Like, it wasn't offensive in any way.
I mean, I didn't get pretty white boy vibe from him.
He just is.
I mean, he wore nice suits. So, I mean, I guess that. I mean, he is an attractive man, but I don't think they were playing that up. He was more just
They don't have to.
I think the goal was that he is the epitome of a British person overseas.
Sure.
So I think that's why he works so well to blend in, quote unquote, with the rest of the British masses abroad. But none of it makes sense. Like, again, like they were talking about in the
pretty sure the British masses are grams.
Did you watch the breakdown on Mr. Sunday Movies about Tenet?
I believe so, but...
And I'm like, a point I didn't even think about, what is the point of selling these fucking Tenet bullets? Like, you buy an empty box? Can everybody be a Tenet bullet?
Shows up in the box one day.
And at some point, you have a full clip?
Yeah.
Like, what is the point of that? Like, it doesn't make sense.
It's a great idea that was just... I feel like the problem is that Christopher Nolan's at a point in his career where nobody's willing to tell him.
And you know what? Funny enough, in that breakdown, they even mentioned the point you made that halfway through the movie they should have done a reverse of what the movie was.
Yes, absolutely.
Like, that would have actually made sense
as an artistic piece.
Not that dumbass ending they actually show us.
Yeah,
where nobody's surprised that's Robert Pattinson.
Yeah.
Spoilers. Sorry.
The other thing is it wrapped it up too neatly. There was a defined end.
Yeah.
Which is like, okay, the idea of this is that it's the same forward as it is backwards. There kind of shouldn't be an end. It should almost be cyclical. To the point where, like, you could start the movie you could finish the movie at the same place that you started it, so that you actually just more or less could watch it on a loop, like not literally, but conceptually.
Yeah.
Like.
Well, like, it's one of those things that like it would be the ultimate like in movie payoff.
Yeah.
Like all these things that don't make sense in the beginning can finally be explained away. Whereas like, yeah, it's pretty clear at a certain point. Like, yeah, Bat is the one making these things happen throughout the movie because he's just making sure it happens. You know, like because like the only time they do that is during their fight at the customs holding place, where you know they fight the two people and then
that are them.
And whereas like at a certain point I think we just figured out like yeah, that's what happened. So like it doesn't have this like huge payoff. Like it just I don't know. It was one of those things where like all the jokes people make about like Inception being pretentious,
yeah,
is 100% this movie.
Yeah,
100% is this movie. It's just shit's happening, and if you don't get it, you're not smart enough.
Yeah.
Like, no, man, it's you're just doing a reverse effect. Like, I don't care.
Yeah.
This isn't interesting.
You just played the movie or the part of the movie in reverse. You didn't use it to tell the story in reverse.
Yeah.
Like,
and even still, like,
there's no symmetry in the storytelling.
Yeah, and like the only interesting part of the movie, he doesn't even talk about.
Yeah.
He almost ignores the fact of like, why do they want to undo all of existence? Like, is the future really that bad? They'd rather just not exist.
Yep.
Like, and just kill yourselves.
We have to go back.
Just kill yourselves. Like, why not fix it?
Yep.
Why destroy everything? Just doesn't make sense.
And it's not even like to restart things.
No, it's just
like literally just to end everything.
Yeah. It's a paradox bomb. It's creating a paradox just to make everything be undone.
It's just Moon's haunted. What? Moon's haunted. That's all it is. It's just like
I want it to be good.
Yep.
I really did. Like I want to support Christopher Nolan because he's
got a great track record.
He does, and like he is one of the few guys who will make the movie he wants to make.
Yep. Even his lesser movies are still great.
Yeah.
Like, but Tenet.
This is definitely his weakest film.
Swing and a miss.
I mean, other than I think like his very first movie, it was like an almost like student project.
Following.
I think so.
Following's good.
I don't know. I haven't heard too much about it. But okay, so if this $250 million movie is worse than a student project, all right.
Yeah.
Got it. And it's a shame too, because I enjoyed most of the cast. It's all done very well, and even like I had no idea that was fucking Kenneth Branagh.
The bad guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't think about it that way. He looks weird without the beard.
That's it, and it's all acted very well. It's done to how they want it to be done. Again, as much as I love David Washington, he does just do David Washington things.
Yeah. Just
kind of like his daddy. But
his dad.
Who's
your daddy? Who's your daddy?
Oh, you know who my daddy is. But it just does not slap. It does not slap.
It does not. It doesn't pulse either. It's just slap backwards.
So big sad. Big sad.
Big sad. Listen. So sad.
But listen, man, that was the first experiment. Didn't work out. And granted, too, it was just not a great movie. Again, I'm sure we'll have people online telling us we're stupid for not getting it. All right, agree to disagree that you're stupid. We'll see what happens with Wonder Woman 84. I mean, it would be nice to see new movies.
Sure.
There aren't Tremors 4 or 5 or The Tremoring, whatever the hell it's called.
The last one was, I just watched it the other day. It was pretty good. Very sad. Should I spoilers?
Sure, I'm not going to watch it.
Bert dies.
Who the fuck Bert?
The
one guy?
Old guy, yeah. Bert dies at the end of it.
The one guy from Tremors? Not Kevin Bacon?
Yeah. Bert Gummer. But he dies at the end of it, which I don't know.
Joe Dirt's dad?
Yes. Not the original, the crazy guy, the prepper guy.
I don't remember. Sorry.
But he's the one that they basically continually carried over through all the movies.
Yeah. Yeah.
Obviously, didn't carry over Kevin Bacon, but it was good. It was fine. Listen, Tremors is not even a guilty pleasure of mine. I legitimately enjoy them. Like, I know they're not super high quality movies, but they're fun.
Yeah, they're not supposed to be.
Like, they ride the line between horror and action, and the characters are always good. Like, they're always enjoyable to watch. Yeah. Even like the special effects are not even shitty. Like, the special effects are good in those movies, which is crazy because it's like it's basically a B movie if a B movie was done well.
Yep.
Like.
Well, like I said, and I like movies that are aware of who they are.
Yep.
So I have no problem. Definitely have no problem with the series. It was just never really my thing. But a little bit I did watch. It was always fun to watch.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
That's the show?
I think that's the show. We severely went off topic that last little like 25 minutes. But if that wouldn't be wouldn't be us if we didn't do that.
Word.
That being said, thank you for joining us today on this episode. Thank you for giving us your time. I hope you liked it. Comment.
Hope you're still listening.
Yes, hopefully. Comment, subscribe. Do all the social media things. If
you do listen to this, if you have any ideas for our No Lie November, we're going to have our final atonement in the coming weeks. We're finally going to go over all the questions that have been asked of us over the month, and hopefully we're not canceled.
Fingers
hopefully
crossed.
We're still friends. Hopefully we're not shunned by our community.
We're supposed to be friends to begin with.
Fake it till you make it.
There you
go. Get 'em.
Yeah, I mean, should be interesting. Please tune in. Please.
My apologies. We forgot one thing.
What's that?
What you drinking, Ryan?
Oh, well, earlier I had a Corpse Survivor. Knocked that out. And then I made a cocktail kind of my own invention, which is just vodka, coffee liqueur, and butterscotch schnapps. And basically the flavor is reminiscent of buttered popcorn or burnt buttered popcorn. Like it's tasty. Give it a shot sometime. Haven't made a video on that on my series. Oh yes, by the way, please watch my video series. This Won't Last Call, in which I make cocktails. Should have an episode going up tonight. Finished editing it, and we'll post it later. Tonight being Saturday, so I don't know when you're actually gonna listen to this, but typically I post either Saturday or Sunday morning. So check it out if you like cocktails.
On YouTube, this won't last.
Yep, This Won't Last podcast YouTube. We'll be advertising on the socials though, so
like, share, subscribe.
Yes. And Paul, when are you going to do your video series?
I have a video. What was my video series again?
I don't remember.
It was something similar to what grinds my gears.
Yes.
You know what I hate?
Fuck's this.
I'll work on that. It'll probably just be me in awkward situations. But right now I'm drinking. Again, not sponsored at all. More Bud Light seltzers, but this time the Christmas exclusives. Ginger Snap seltzer.
Mm-hmm.
It would be like if you took a really good gingerbread cookie and dunked it in nice water. Made sure it was really cold.
Fizzy water.
put some fizzy bubbly in it.
Yeah.
It's not bad. It has it's definitely like a ginger tinge.
There's a hint of ginger. It suggests ginger. Nice. It's a suggestion of ginger.
Yeah. The other two
ginger,
flavors,
maybe?
The other flavors, let's see. One flavor is like a peppermint one. I'm a little worried about that one.
Pass.
The other
peppermint
one,
hard seltzer. That sounds awful.
Ugh.
Who the fuck?
They had cranberry in there, which is fine because they have cranberry year round. And there was another one that I forget that actually sounded pretty interesting that I saw, but who knows? It could really be anything at this point.
I feel like you could mix the cranberry and the ginger together and it would taste pretty good.
Yeah. But just because I didn't feel like making a meal today, so.
Nice.
Like I am.
Some days you feel like making a meal, some days you don't. Alrighty. And also, check out Dee's video series, the Happy Good Morning series. He does it on Fridays and Mondays.
Fridays and Mondays.
Fridays and Mondays.
So yeah, we have lots of things going on. Check us out on Facebook, Instagram. I'm sorry, the Gram.
We're making content, okay?
Yeah. If you want us to immerse ourselves in TikTok, say something. Leave a comment on one of our socials. We'll see it. And then I'll make D dance or something like that.
And if anybody from work is actually listening to this, because apparently some people have talked about my video series at work.
Nani?
Yeah, exactly. Thank you guys for listening.
Say nothing. Say nothing.
And get back to fucking work. No, just kidding.
With all due respect.
With all due respect. So yeah, I think is that a wrap?
That's a wrap.
That's a wrap. That's a whap. Macaroni in the pot, baby.
These are your last line. Save it for your last line.
It's true. Somebody said that the other day at work.
Macaroni in the pot.
Yeah, I looked at him and I was like, "Don't say that." It's just I love taking that out of context.
It is very Chappelle-like.
Yeah. Zip it up and zip it out.
Oh, zippity
So that's it. Thank you
For
again.
real, we're done.
Yeah. All right. Bye.
Bye.
Mac in the pot.